In the days following the Uvalde shooting, we've learned that after facing an initial barrage of gunfire, law enforcement officers were on the scene for more than an hour before actually engaging the shooter. That slow response time, paired with the 2-year anniversary of George Floyd's murder, has again led for calls for police reform. It's also highlighted a problem in policing that seems to apply whenever we're talking about actions during mass shootings or interactions with Black and brown people. Friend of the show, Brittany Paxton Cunningham, summed it up best. Take a listen.
If the police kill, tase, and maim unarmed people because they feared for their lives, and they won't stop armed people from slaughtering children, then clearly the institution itself is not sound.
The institution itself is not sound. And little progress has been made towards fixing the actual institution itself. Outside of an executive order that will mostly impact federal law enforcement, the position in the Biden administration has been to increase funding for police departments. Funding the police, if you will. But based on the sheer amount of crime witnessed last week, it might just be true that more money equals more problems. And I say that because in Uvalde, police funding already makes up 40% of that city's budget. Joining me now to discuss, MSNBC legal analyst Paul Butler. He's a law professor at Georgetown and a former federal prosecutor. So, Paul, speak to why better funding, more funding, funding the police is not the answer to fixing America's policing problem.
As you mentioned, Uvalde is spending a huge share of taxpayer money on policing, and apparently it's not getting much of a return in its investment. The police got $500,000 for equipment purchase. They have money for a SWAT team, but those resources were not apparent in the police department's response to the horrific shooting. Conservatives claim that they care about fiscal responsibility, but not so much when it comes to the police. Some of the billions of dollars that goes to law enforcement is classic wasteful and inefficient government spending, and the payoff isn't obvious in terms of public safety. Certainly the police just haven't received the same scrutiny on this level that other government service providers have received.
It's a really good point. I mean, I feel like when the so-called racial reckoning was happening, everybody turned their necks and they focused on defund the police as the whole thing, the whole conversation. Did that distract us from the bigger picture here? I mean, should we refocus our attention on the ways in which we allow our systems to essentially say police misconduct is the norm, and there's really no accountability? There's very little there are very few mechanisms through which you can get accountability, even if there is wrongdoing.
That's exactly right. So police budgets tend to be consumed by funding the cost of hiring more officers. But just employing more people with guns doesn't automatically make neighborhoods safer. So in Uvalde, these officers were trained how to respond to a mass shooting, but reportedly they still fail to follow best practices. That's not a funding issue. That's a leadership issue. Throwing money at the cops won't make them more responsible. We need to change the culture of policing in the ways that the Movement for Black Lives has been articulating for years. And not only did we see an apparent breakdown in first responding to this horrific shooting, some of the police accounts haven't been honest. So this is the same old lack of transparency and accountability that have been ongoing problems for years.
Yes, I've been obsessed with this particular aspect of the developing story around police response and how it's completely inconsistent with their initial report. There's a Cat Williams joke that the police can kill you on Monday and come up with a story for the news on Tuesday. So to this point, when we're talking in the aftermath of police killings of Black people or George Floyd, in that case there was video, but often there isn't video from every single angle debunking the original story the police are telling us. I mean, what does it tell you that we default to believing everything the police say without questioning it, as opposed to defaulting to skepticism and making sure that they're providing accurate information by verifying what they're saying?
So it tells us, first of all, we can believe our own eyes when we see on videotape stories that Black and brown people have been telling about how the police sometimes treat us for years. But the other important thing to understand is that even when it's not on videotape, that doesn't mean that it didn't happen. And I think, frankly, at this point, we have to look to first responders other than the police. Money for violence prevention and victim services, that money doesn't have to go to law enforcement. Those funds can be allocated to community organizations who have more credibility and proven records of success than the police.
One of the things I think about, too, is maybe defunding the police should be sort of narrowly focused on defunding sort of all of these weird SWAT weapons they get in these local communities where they have like giant guns and tanks. For what? And in Uvalde, that was one of the things that came up, is that they had a SWAT team, they have Border Patrol nearby, they have all these agencies, but do they actually have the appropriate training and courage to enact that training when the crisis comes around? I mean, there seems to be, I think, a disconnect between what they're equipped to do in terms of equipment and what they're actually able to handle when there's an emergency.
That's true. And so now we're going to see this Department of Justice review, which will have to address two tragic facts. So one is that it's the shooter who's responsible for the deaths of 21 people. But the second tragic fact is that some lives might have been saved if the police had acted more responsibly and more proactively. So this isn't about a blame game, but it is about using taxpayer dollars, federal resources, to prevent these failures in the future. Zerlina, the tragic reality is that we know there will be other school shootings until this country passes common sense gun safety laws. And so law enforcement needs to use its resources, its taxpayer dollars responsibly, so that when this next tragedy happens, the police will be better equipped to respond.
Paul Butler, thank you so much for this really important conversation. Please stay safe. Hi, I'm Zerlina Maxwell. Thanks for checking out our channel on YouTube. You can see more from Zerlina by clicking any of the videos on this screen, and make sure you subscribe below to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. Thanks for watching.